This is poke bush, poke root, poke berry, Phytolacca americana, growing right behind my kennel, all through the fence rows, up and down the railroad tracks, the woods, fields, everywhere. We're going to make poke sallet. Welcome to Got Blood Outdoors. I'm your host, Jeff Webb. Hey, come and check this out. This is poke bush, poke berry, poke root, American poke weed, Phytolacca americana. It's indigenous to the United States, North America, South America, New Zealand, and East Asia. I call it wild spinach, or poor man's spinach. Always approach the unknown with caution. In most circles, this is considered an herb, and herbs can be very powerful. The most important thing you need to know is that every part of this plant is poisonous unless prepared properly. So you have to know how to fix it. You have to know how to identify it. Don't try to do this by yourself. Get help and research it. I like to get them when they're about a foot tall, right out of the ground. Tender. That's the first reason. The second reason is I believe that the toxins in the plant build up slowly over time as they get larger and tougher. This is the way I've been taught. Other people will tell you different things. I've been eating this all my life. I've never had a problem. Always cook it twice until you get comfortable with this and you start learning about the plant. Always cook it twice, pour the water off twice before you put it in the skillet and fry it. I will allude to that statement about caution throughout this video. This is the warning. It's a double-edged sword. Some of the most powerful chemicals that we have come from plants and animals, Mother Nature. Like I said, it can be poisonous, but many people feel that it has healing properties. And don't be so quick to discount the mountain medicines. The indigenous people knew what they were doing. They knew what they were eating, and they knew what worked. So let's get to it. Let's do some poke sallet. Walked up and down the railroad tracks here, on the other side of the yard, and got into some of the overgrowth and found a nice batch of poke growing. So I picked it. You can see it's pretty nice full plants. I usually like to get them when they're about 1.5 feet, 2 foot tall. No taller than that. I'm going to show you how to prepare these. And as far as cost, it costs nothing. The effort I took to walk up and down the railroad tracks here for just a few minutes. Secondly, don't watch this video and go out and try to pick poke. I want you to take someone with you that knows how to properly identify it, can point the plant out to you, can show it to you up close, and I want you to help them pick a mess of poke. Right now, let's get these things in the kitchen and get them cleaned up. What we're going to do is pick all the leaves off the stalk, disregard the stalk. I don't eat the stalk. My dad told me when I was a little boy that Grandma could take this stalk and split it and fry it in something, and she made it taste like fish. Unfortunately, Grandma's gone, and that recipe went with her. So I don't know if we can duplicate that. But I do like to eat the leaves. The leaves are great. You never eat the berries. Once the poke goes to berry, it's too late to eat the leaves. That's the bird's job. They'll spread the seed for you. So let's get these inside and get them cleaned up, and we'll do my version of poke sallet. All right, we've got our poke greens picked. Got them inside. The first thing you want to do is get the leaves off that stalk, and we're going to prepare a dish called poke sallet. That's S-A-L-L-E-T. Sallet is a southern term that's used to describe a mess of greens that have been cooked down into the mushy form. Just picture cooked spinach, and you'll get the idea. Now you can add anything to the recipe that you want, but the basic ingredient is the green. So let's get right down to it. Basically all you're doing is you're wanting to take your green and just strip the leaves off of it. If you run into a bad leaf, as we'd say, just get shed of it, throw it away. Pick them all off, and the tops you can just nip off. Put it in the sink, because we're going to wash it. Now, this is going to look like a huge mess, but once they cook down, you'll see that it takes a lot to make a kettle of greens. The only thing that you have to be able to do is you have to be able to identify your greens. That's the most important thing right there. Identification. Know what you're eating. Second, you have to know how to prepare it. And basically, boiling takes care of your toxin, because you're going to pour the water off. When you put it in a skillet with a bacon grease, that should finish off what little problem it may cause. I personally have never had any problems with the poke greens, just boiling them once and eating them. But if you talk to experts, and personally I don't know any of them, they claim that you should boil it twice. I think only about 1% of the world's population has ever had an allergic reaction to this green when prepared properly. That's pretty small. You can always take the precaution of eating a little bit and waiting about 15 or 20 minutes if you feel you need to. Sometimes we have to build our confidence up on this. And just go through the whole pile until you get it completely done. Now after you get them off the stalk, you want to rinse them off, so just put them down in a little bit of water like this, nice cold water. Mash them back and forth. Just give them a real good cold rinse. And then just empty your water out and shake them off, because we're getting ready to put them down in boiling water anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Now you want to get a nice sized pan, something very large that can hold a lot of these greens. The idea is to transfer the greens after you've drained them into the boiling water, and you want to cook those until they're nice and soft. Fill your pan about a quarter of the way full and just start boiling water. Now for the next step, after you get your water boiling a little bit, you want to take the greens, transfer them from where you're soaking them into the boiling water. Just take your time. There's no way you're going to get all those greens in one pan at one time. Well, it'd take a pretty good size pan. Now, I haven't got a pan that big since we haven't started eating people yet. Times ain't that hard. Whatever you do, don't mash down in there with your hand. You don't want to cook a finger. Alright, I put a lid on top of that. It's been about 6 minutes, and we're going to take the lid off here and check this. It's starting to cook down some now. And you want to stir this periodically. Starting to look good. I can smell it. It smells good. I like the smell of fresh greens. Put that right back on there. Alright, this is a pretty good sized batch of poke greens, and so I'm going to divide it into 2 different batches. After about 12-13 minutes or so, you want to take your lid off and check it, and it should be cooked down pretty good. What you want is a wilted state, like this. You'll really start smelling them good. You want to start out with fresh water on each batch. You want as much water off this as you can get it. That's why we're going to strain it here in a minute, because when you put this down in a skillet, you're going to have bacon grease in there, and you don't want to get popped. Alright, once you get your poke all cooked down, you want to take it out of the pan, because we're trying to remove as much of the toxins we can, and then pour your water outside somewhere. So now we want to take it, after we get it in that state, and go ahead and put it into a colander. and let a little bit more of it drain out. Once you get to this point right here, I think you've pretty much removed anything that you've got to worry about. And then the frying in the bacon grease will go ahead and finish it off. Now we want to let that set for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. And then we'll tend to it. Alright, once you're done boiling your greens down and you've got them in the colander, they've set for a little bit, drain most of the water off them you can get. You want to get your bacon grease a little bit hot and just start putting your greens down in the skillet. This is how we're going to finish it. Basically, you want to toss this as it fries and coat your poke greens with the bacon grease. And we're going to let that render down now and just fry until it gets a real good wilt on. Salt and pepper to taste. I like mine with a little bit of vinegar. Sometimes I crumble up a little bacon on it. On occasion, we'll mix scrambled eggs with it, and it turns out to be a real good dish. Alright, we've cooked our poke greens down for about 25-30 minutes on medium heat. I like to put a lid on mine, kind of steam them pretty good. Add a little more salt and pepper to taste. And the bacon grease is about 1/4 cup, but if you like yours wet, you can throw a little bit more in there on it. We're getting ready to sample it. I like mine with just a touch of apple cider vinegar on it. Mix that up a little bit. It's hot. Oh, that's good stuff. You really can't tell that much of a difference from spinach. But this is going to taste real good with those barbecued ribs I got out on the grill, that corn on the cob, and the baked beans. And there it is, my version of poke sallet. This is how it was taught to me. Put a little bacon on top of it, there you go. Now here's another version of that same dish I like. Poke sallet with a little bit of scrambled egg mixed in it. Take your poke salad, put it in the skillet with bacon grease. You'll see I have a little bit of bacon mixed up in mine. You do this after you go through the cooking process. For people that are preparing for the first time, go through my cooking process twice. Pour the water off twice before you put it in the skillet. It's best to be safe. Personally, I've never had any problems with this, but I've grown up eating it. Mix you up a little scrambled egg. Put it right in with it. Similar to a spinach omelet. Kind of gets chewed up in the skillet a little bit. But I still think it's pretty. Remember not to overcook your eggs. Get a hold of that. Alright, we're just about finished here. To the plate. That's where we're heading. And here's the variation with the scrambled eggs. You can serve it for any meal. Good eating. That's poke sallet. This is a country dish that goes back years and years as part of my heritage, and it's like I've said, you know, you can't get any more country than poke salad. But if you're going to eat it, research it, know something about it. This is Jeff Webb for Got Blood Outdoors. Check your arrow. You got blood, know what you're putting in your mouth. This is great stuff, but you have to know how to prepare it. These are the young pokeberries starting. I don't eat the plants when they get this big. This is where the berry hasn't come on yet. You'll notice the purple, the wide leaves. It's starting to look familiar. The berries will turn purple.